Welcome, everybody, to the Tom Tolbert Show. It is a pleasure to welcome to the show today, three-time champion, and now you can catch him calling games, select games on NBC Sports Bay Area. He works as an analyst for NBC Sports Bay Area, calling Giant games. Javier López. Javi, what's going on?
Mr. T, you're looking at it. I'm sitting around waiting for school to start. That's where I'm at.
How old are the kids?
So my son is 12. He's a rising seventh grader, and my daughter is 15, a rising sophomore in high school. So we start next week. We start early here in Georgia. We get going.
I don't know about you. When I grew up, we didn't start till after Labor Day. We got like a full 3 months off of summer, and now it's like we just keep pushing it because what is there a summer anymore?
Yeah, no, I don't think there is, especially with sports. Normally we try to be done with my son's baseball team. They start Memorial Day-ish is kind of when they're out of school, maybe a week before then, and then we try to be done by the middle of June. But this year, at 12 years old, we took him up to Cooperstown to have the final send-off. So that stretched us out into July. So it's been a long summer.
So you're kind of happy school starting.
Yeah, it's also the beginning of golf season, so it's kind of an exciting time. I can take the kids to school, go play, and then you get to go pick them up.
That's nice. Now,
Yeah.
how do you guys handle drop-offs? Do they go to the same school, or the school's closed? Do you guys switch days drop-offs? Did you say, hey, find your own way to school, kid? You're old enough now.
Well, for a long time, it's been I was a public school kid, so was my wife. So it's get on the bus and roll. Like
Okay.
you can find your way to the bus stop. And so for my son, he's still doing that. My daughter is trying to weasel some rides here and there. There's a couple kids that are turning 16 in the neighborhood that will have their driver's licenses. So I'm sure she's going to try to bum a ride, but if not, she's always trying to get one in the morning. So
Of course.
it's always something. But if there's one that's going to try to sneak a ride, it's my daughter.
Now, when I was growing up, I was probably half a mile away from the house, down to the end of the street, take a left, go down 2 more streets, take a right. And streets are all in the same big neighborhood. And I used to walk to school when I was in first grade. It's like, it wasn't that far and it wasn't that big a deal. And I always had a group of friends that I'd go with. I'm thinking nowadays, we get to school half a mile from here. I'm like, would I let my kid walk a half a mile to school anymore? I mean, back then you didn't even think about it. Nowadays, it's like, I don't know if they're out of sight. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, I just feel like I always say like the kids are so soft nowadays. Like with parents, I was soft too. I was like, yeah, okay. I know you got to go 100 yards. Well, let me take you there just to make sure everything's okay.
It is night and day. I totally agree with you. We sit here. I would be biking. I'm sure you did too. That was the only mode of
Yep.
transportation. And I'm shooting neighborhoods over growing up. And as long as the streetlights were on, I'm back home. Now it took my wife and I to be like, there's a neighborhood maybe a quarter of a mile away, and it's not even on a main street. My kids can get over there on the sidewalk, and it's like, yeah, maybe do we? And finally, we're like, yeah, if their friends are home, go get out of here. See you later.
Isn't it funny growing up? You could be gone 7 hours, but as long as you're back, like when the street lights came on, nobody even thought twice. If kids are gone like 45 minutes now without you know where they are, it's like, oh my God, should we call the cops? I'm not okay. Give it 5 more minutes, then we'll call the cops.
And I'm living in the world where my daughter loves the cell phone, so she's Snapchat, Instagram, all the things.
Yep.
My son, he's not into the cell phone, which I love.
Yeah.
Until I need to get in touch with him. Then it's like, then I actually have to like cold call a parent. I'm like, he said he was going to see your son. Is he over there? And I got to track him down. But I mean, it's totally different. I was a latchkey kid. Both my parents were working. So I was coming home, walking home.
Yep.
I was a walker as well. So it's like,
Yep.
you walk home, you get back to the house, and you're by yourself. And so you just go and find your own trouble, which was for me a bike ride, and go figure it out.
Yeah, you couldn't even I couldn't get a ride on a holiday. You kidding me? I'm not getting a ride on a Tuesday. All right, let's talk about where the Giants are at right now. They are scuffling big time. And I mean, you played a lot of years. You've been on teams that have gone through this type of scuffle where it doesn't matter if you score 5, you give up 6, score 2, give up 3. You need to make a play. You just can't quite make it. You need to keep a play from happening. It doesn't. What's the grind like? Just trying to get through this, knowing there's a lot of season left and a lot of time to right the ship. But I would imagine while you're in the midst of this, it's miserable.
I think there's lots of ways to attack that answer. I think it's one of those things where when you get towards a trade deadline, you kind of get nervous if you're that free agent guy
Mm-hmm.
that could be a swing player. Like for me, Tyler Rogers is finally going to be a free agent. Now, I haven't really heard his name in trade rumors, but everyone's on the table when it comes to this point of the year, especially when you're going to be a free agent. And so you get a little bit of that weirdness, like, is this my last time at home? Is this my last homestand? All those things
Mm-hmm.
kind of pop up. And then when your team's not playing well, like you said, you start pressing, you try to do a little bit too much rather than kind of just taking care of what you have been doing most of the year. And for the Giants, it snowballed a little bit for them. They've lost 4 in a row. They didn't have a great road trip. I mean, they got swept in Toronto. You get swept by the Mets. I think they had lost a little bit right before the All-Star break. So you're not playing your best baseball, and then this kind of happens, and now you're only 1 game over 500, and all of a sudden it's like, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? And I think that's where they're kind of getting stuck right now. Is that guys like this is a series you should win against the Pirates. In
Yeah.
fact, you should be sniffing a sweep. Now you can't. Now you're just trying to salvage a series win. But this is just it's a weird time. Yes, there is a lot of time, but at the same time, with the wild card and the way it's kind of set up, and there's a lot of more parity in this league, the Giants have an opportunity to play a lot of the teams that's in front of them. But ultimately, you got to have to start leapfrogging a lot of teams, and that's not easy to do.
What do you remember about the trade deadline and getting traded, or hearing your name and then not getting traded? Like, what was it like trade deadline? And I always say it's different for guys, I'm sure, with families. Then it becomes like, oh my God, then we're going to have to deal with, my wife or partner or kids and all that. Like, you're single, it still sucks, but family and that involves a whole different element. But what was it like for you come trade deadline, all the different things you went through?
Yeah, it's everything you speak to. It gets really weird. For me, I got traded a couple times, and then one was before the trade deadline, so that didn't affect me that much. It was actually from AAA to the big league, so you're excited at any point in time when that
Yeah.
happens. But when I was in 2010, I was with the Pirates, and we were on our way to 100 losses, and we knew that anybody basically 30 years or older was on the trade block because we were all on 1 year deals. And so the Giants came calling. So in that moment, it's excitement because all of a sudden I'm getting into a race, and they were battling the Padres in 2010 for the first place. And I went from basically from worst to first, which is exciting in its
Yeah.
own right. But that's when our daughter was born, was in 2010. So, I mean, you got a newborn. She was born in
Yeah.
March that year. So my wife was with me in Pittsburgh, and then I call her. We're on the road. We're actually in St. Louis when I got traded to the Giants. So I didn't even go back to Pittsburgh. I went straight from St. Louis to San Francisco, and that was it. I never saw my wife the rest of that season until the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah, she was stuck and had to drive. I mean, our family we're on the East Coast, so she was able to go hang out with her parents and just kind of at least have some people around to help her with a toddler and everything. But it was hard times for that. But I do think it has some excitement as well. I think in the Giants when we had won in 2010, and that was great, right? I get traded, but then after 2012 we win again, but I'm a free agent in 2000 after that season. So in 2013 we're not playing great, and then I was getting in those conversations of, hey, I'm going to get
Yeah.
traded. It's an opportunity. This may happen. And it was Hunter Pence, and I think Tim Lincecum was along the same lines, and myself. Like we're all pending free agents, and like what's going to happen? What are we going to do? And ultimately, Sabes was great, and Bobby Evans. They were very upfront. Like, hey, this team's calling, this team's calling, this team's calling. Is there a preference? Not that I really care because we're going to make the best move for the Giants, but is there something that would work out a little bit better for you? And they kept me really engaged and involved in that. And I thought that was really cool because that's not an experience I'd had before. But I've been on both, all the emotions, and I've been on teams
Yeah.
that you think are going to make a move and then they don't make a move. And it can crater a clubhouse because now it's like, oh, they don't believe in us. You can spin it a lot of ways. It
Yeah.
really, you really got to lean on like some veteran guys in a clubhouse to kind of keep it straight.
So how? Because I always talk about this stuff when guys get traded. I said there's just more to it than just getting traded. So you just had your first kid, your daughter. You don't get a chance to see her, your wife. This is before FaceTime. So it's I don't know what was that, 2 months that you didn't get to go back and see him. You
Right.
got traded straight to. How do you deal with that as a player? I mean, that's got to be difficult.
It was for me. I get back into being so singularly focused. Like, all right, well, what am I going to do to help this team win, and what can I do to help in this situation? And it was difficult to really. You have to set up your visits. Like, what team? Where were we traveling? And then
Uh-huh.
have my wife kind of meet me there and bring the baby and set up a hotel room and try to stay away from the teammates because baby's going to be crying and it's going to be. You don't want to keep them up. So it's like the logistical part is something that kind of gets overlooked, kind of what you're speaking to. But ultimately, you just try to stay so focused on what you're trying to do that it does kind of, you can kind of put it in the back burner for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's still more difficult for my wife at that point in time because she's grinding. She's in the fight. She's on the front lines, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there and I get to play a game. I'm still playing. So it was a difficult time for sure. But we did try to sneak some visits in there. But ultimately, it wasn't really. I didn't really get a chance to hold my daughter for a good couple weeks before we could even arrange a trip.
Yeah, she was on the front line with the musket, like one of those like
Oh yeah,
fire, and you're in the very back line going charge. You're like, good.
yeah.
I'm safe. I'm
I
good
got
to go.
no responsibilities
Yeah.
whatsoever. Yeah.
And I point this out just because I think sometimes we don't look at athletes as human beings just like everybody else. Like when a guy's playing bad or swinging bad or did something, like you just assume it was a boneheaded player or this or that. And sometimes something's going on in their life and I mean, they got to go out there and do their job in front of, 40,000 in the stands. I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just saying these are facts. Like you can go do, most people can deal with stuff at home and then go to a cubicle or go out and do what they're doing with a partner or something like that. But when you're doing it in front of people, it just becomes tougher. And sometimes when the trade deadline comes around, I try to take that into consideration. So I still have a hard time, Javi, thinking this team's going to sell any pieces. I mean, you go out and get Rafi Devers, and
Right.
that's still the biggest play, the biggest move of the trade deadline. It's just not at the trade deadline, so it kind of we're looking at now. But that to me was more of a move of, oh, okay, this is for the next 5 years. We got Devers, we got Adames, we got Chapman lined up, and we got hopefully Eldridge will be up here and we're going to try to build something here and then continue to add to it in subsequent years. But I mean, obviously they're not playing like they'd like after the trade. But to me, this wasn't just about, hey, this year, let's go for it. It's about, let's start getting a lineup here that we can compete with these guys consistently.
Yeah, and I totally agree with all that. I think when you look at the landscape of baseball and the price to get an impact bat, it's just I mean it's only
Mm-hmm.
going north. I mean, you got Soto at over 700 million. You got Otani at 700 million. You got Vlad Guerrero Jr., who's comparable in a sense as far as numbers to Rafi Devers, and he's getting 500 million. So Kyle Tucker's a free agent. He's probably staring at 500, if not
Yep.
more. And you never want to say it's a bargain. I mean, again, you want to hope that he plays first base. I think it's an opportunity for Devers to show that he can still play in the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're paying $28 million for an impact bat. That it sounds, I can't even say it without laughing, but that's cheap compared to
It
what
is cheap.
compared to what you're going to have to get out in the free agent market, and they failed in the free agent market. So
Yeah.
unless they were going to make major changes to the ballpark, which they're not going to do, you have to go make it via a trade, and that's where the Giants were able to do. And they take on money, and I think as much grief as Farhan has gotten from the fan base, and some of it is rightly deserved and all that, I think what he ultimately did well is set the Giants up with a good budget going forward, where they can take on money and they can spend some money on the right people as opposed to being up against the cap, pseudo cap, and
Yeah.
kind of go deal with that.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that, the cap thing. I guess Bryce Harper got into it with Rob Manfred. A
Yeah.
pretty funny story about the cap. But I got to ask you about Carson Wisenhunt and what you thought of his performance. last night. I mean, overall, pretty good. I think he got jumped on I think it was Gonzalez that jumped him on a changeup that kind of hung a little bit early on
Yeah.
in the game. But you can see where once he calms down and he was all over the map last night. He was missing arm
Mm-hmm.
side, he's missing glove side, but
Mm-hmm.
that changeup fastball combination should play. What'd you think of his debut?
I think it should play. I think if they could have some pitches back, it would be that first pitch changeup when you throw in the first inning. Like
Yep.
they all know you have a changeup. The scouting reports are out there. It's not so much like you got to tap a guy on the shoulder. Hey, you were in AAA. What'd you see? They
Yeah.
got everything. They got everything. And so if you know they got a changeup, you kind of need to change it up off of something. And he didn't show enough fastballs early in those first
Yeah.
couple innings, in my opinion. And they were sitting on the off speed. And yes, he started finally getting some location back. I do think it's an arm that's going to have to. It's intriguing because he's not an overpowering arm. He's probably
Yeah.
91, 93. He could touch 95, but he's going to be. He needs pitchability. It needs to throw a breaking ball a little more often. I felt like he was almost too much of a two pitch guy last night.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, it's your first start. You're nervous. There's all kinds of things going, and I do feel for him in that regard. But it's yet another arm that's an intriguing arm for the Giants, and it's another young guy that you can kind of build around. It's just now how are you going to cover all these innings with all these young guys when they're up against those pitch limits, pseudo pitch limits that they've had, and innings limits that they just haven't accrued yet because they're so young.
Yeah, I think for me, and you know way better than I would, but to me, the slider, which I'm not sure he even threw for a strike last night. I mean, that thing, if he threw for a strike, it may have been one or two. It's not a great pitch, but if he can just throw that for a strike 10 times during the game, then you can go fastball, changeup all you want because you still got the slider in your back pocket that you just show to people. Maybe it's not an out pitch, but I mean, he throws a slider. No one's swinging at that because he wasn't within like a half a foot of the strike zone last night. And to your point, your changeup is, if it's great, you still need that third pitch because they'll just sit on it. And eventually, all it takes is that one where you didn't come out right and you hang it in the middle of the plate and bam, which is what happened to Seymour. That was the one, Javi, that hurt last night for me because I mean, it's a 1-2 pitch to McCutchen. And I didn't see him throw a lot of sliders either. I was like, just give him the sinker, see what happens. He threw a slider,
right?
And I mean, he just on a tee right in the middle of the plate. And I was like, oh, brother, here we go. And then there you go, 6-5.
Yeah, again, that's a pitch you want back. I think the sequencing, for me, digging in, because I'm not in the fight, right? I can just watch it like every one of us now. I'm not in there, but McCutchen had not shown me anything that night from first swing to the last at bat about covering an outside fastball. It just didn't look like he was going to do any damage with that pitch. And then you sped the bat up with the breaking ball, and of course you never mean to throw it down the middle, but there's always an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I mean, that's just how it goes. But I'm with you. I would have loved to have him just stay with that sinker down and away. He was living at the knees really well with that fastball, and it was coming in with some movement, some velocity. But you're right. When you struggle to score runs the way the Giants have, I mean, they were 0 for 23 against the Mets in the Mets series with runners in scoring position. When you're struggling to score runs, those swings just don't get covered that by your offense anymore. Like when you're hot, you're like, 2-run shot, no biggie. They're going to come back. But every one of those feels like it's a 10-run homer.
Did you ever go through that early in your career where it's like you had to learn the lesson? Try not to trick these guys. Like, if I have something working, let's just stick with it. And if they're struggling with something, let's go to that. I always think as a pitcher, there's that opportunity to kind of get inside your own head going, oh, he's never going to expect this. I'll get him with this and it'll look silly. And then all of a sudden it's not your best pitch and you don't throw it as well as you'd like to. And then he just hits it 450 feet.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, if you look at my baseball card, there's a lot of ugly numbers on there. I think I learned the hard way. I mean, there was a couple times I had to go reinforce AAA. That's where I was at. I was getting sent out so much. So, but yeah, you got to learn. I mean, it's hard to learn at the big league level. It's hard to learn at any pro level. I mean, in the minor leagues, you got a chance. You got less eyeballs on you, less pressure in a sense. But when you're out there in front of a packed stadium A lot of things are happening. The game does speed up at times, and you do exactly what you're talking about. Sometimes, like, well, I haven't thrown him my changeup yet. He hasn't seen it. Well, there's a reason my changeup's my
Yeah,
third best pitch because I
yeah,
don't use it, and you try to use it, and then you back up a base or you get it clipped out of the yard, and they're like, well, I better put that in my back pocket. And yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to do that, and where that's where you kind of lean on your catcher too. And Bailey's, I think, is his fourth year now up here, but there's still some moments where you're kind of like, "Ew," on the pitch sequences,
yeah,
where you're like, ah, man, I wish he would have just stayed with this because the guy wasn't showing that he was making an adjustment. But Bailey's trying to learn on these pitchers on the fly as well. He hasn't worked with Wizenhunt all that much, so
yeah.
he's going with what he knows. And ultimately, when in doubt, you're going to throw the off speed. When in doubt with Seymour, you're kind of going to go with what you think the hitter hasn't seen, and you get caught sometimes.
Yeah. In your eyes, or Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, is fatigue an issue coming out of the break at all with either of those guys, or is it just, hey, they pitched against a couple good teams and had a couple bad starts? Because if that happens, Hobby, then you just pack the season up and go home, because those are the two guys. I mean, you hate to put all the pressure on two guys, but these guys got to pitch well. They just have to. Period. I've heard some people say they looked, maybe Susan Slusser said she talked to some people in baseball, so they looked a little tired. I wouldn't know. I don't know what tired looks like, but what do you see?
I do think that there's a fatigue is in there, whether it's body or whether it's just their arm in general.
Yeah,
I do think the stress of having to be the guys that are going to go deep into a ball game when the rest of your rotation, you're kind of praying for 5 innings right now, which is not how they were in April. They were able to get kind of deeper into the game, and now you're trying to figure out how you're covering so many innings. And with Logan Webb, I do think there's a little fatigue from the All-Star game, Robbie Ray. But they're going to have to be the horses. And I do think what will happen between here and Thursday is going to be intriguing to me. I do think that the Giants would love to add an arm, a starter, regardless of what that looks like, even if it's not a high impact arm, just a guy that can come in here and eat up innings. Because you go into spring training, you have, I think they were talking about 14, 15 starters. But now you're sitting here calling up Wizenhunt making his debut. You're calling up all
yeah,
these guys. And again, you appreciate that they're in your system and that you can make these moves. But these guys that have not thrown a lot of innings, so that puts more pressure on your 1 and 2, being Webb and Ray, to go out there and execute. And Webb's in a little funk. I think there's a little arm fatigue. The ball is not as crisp as I've seen it prior to the break, but he's entitled to that, so to speak. When I was with the Giants, Matt Cain, Bumgardner, Timmy Lincecum had some bad stretches. And just unfortunately, when the margins are so thin on this team, it just shows more than maybe it would have in years past if you have just a more established 5-man rotation.
yeah. I mean, that's where it helps to have Vogelsong in the staff, or Sanchez in the staff, or Zito, whoever. I mean, just other guys in the staff that can pick up the slack. And like Birdsong was supposed to be one of those guys, and it looked like early in the season, like okay, and then it was like, I'm not sure. And then it was, I think, his 17 walks in his last 13 innings. He just stopped throwing strikes, and I don't know if it was mechanical, if it was mental, if it was both. I got to imagine when you can't find the strike zone, that's hell to be out on the mound, loneliest place on the earth.
Yeah, you feel naked out there. I've been there where you can't just throw the ball over the plate. You're physically, I mean, I about threw underhand and I couldn't toss it in there for strikes sometimes. It's ridiculous, but you knew something was going on when he gave that interview saying that he felt like there was a force field over home
Yeah,
plate. That's never an encouraging
yeah,
statement,
that's never solid.
but I love him. I love his attitude. I love the way he fights. I love his competitiveness, and I do think they'll figure it out. I do think it's mental. His stuff plays. The velocity is great. The curveball is on time. The changeup's fantastic. But again, if you don't establish a fastball, it doesn't matter what else you have. Big league hitters are too good that they will make those adjustments and ultimately put your back against the wall, put you up against it. So, Birdsong it's disappointing the way how quickly it spiraled out of control for him. But
Yeah,
I hope that maybe some time down in AAA will kind of get him right. I do think that is, again, it's a lower pressure environment. You're coming off of big leagues. You're you're facing big league competition. You go down to AAA. You're facing 6-year free agents. You're facing a couple prospects, and then just a lot of, maybe just guys that are trying to fill out a roster. So your chance to have a better start is obviously going to be increased in AAA. But yeah, I would hope Birdsong's ceiling is going to be pretty high. And I think that's the big reason. I mean, I don't know what Breslow was asking for in Boston, whether he specifically wanted Birdsong or if he wanted Harrison. But between the two, I just really felt like who projected better in my eyes was Birdsong, just the way he was able to, when he's right, command 3 pitches in the strike zone.
No, I agree. It was funny. I was talking to Susan yesterday about, it was Sunday night when Elliot Ramos got thrown out at third base on the, I think it was a number by Chapman. I'm like, bro, what are we doing here? You can't do it. And then they pan over to Melvin, right? They always look to get the reaction of the manager. And all these managers now, they just keep their composure and look at their little card. I'm sure they're motherfucking god, this guy, what an asshole. Okay, let's move on. But I'm like how do managers not just like at least take their hat off and do one of these or like if I was a manager, I'd want to just like I'd want to punch myself in the face. I was like, what are we doing now? But did you ever play for a manager that like reacted to stuff? Because that's the one thing, Javi, we do not get anymore. I said, I don't care. You talk about the game now versus 80s, 90s. The one thing that was better back then is we had Lasorda, we had Weaver, we had Piniella, we had Martin, we had Sparky. We got all these guys that were just nuts out there on the field. Guys aren't like that anymore. Mundane press conferences, all that. But did you ever play for a manager that just would get frustrated or exasperated or at least show some emotion in the dugout?
Yeah, I did. And it goes both ways. I think when you look at it as a player, you're expecting it. So when it happens, you're like, all right, well, this guy cares as much as I do, but I don't think it's any shot at Bob Melvin. I by speaking to him and playing for him briefly back in 2005, there's a lot of pain behind those eyes when he's staring out there. Like he just doesn't want to blow up, And I think that's even Boch. Boch would be the occasional hat grab, but that's why he kept the bucket of balls right where he's at, and he would turn and he'd kick the bucket of balls because by the camera usually gets you chest up. You can kind of take a swing and get it. Now, one of my favorites is that Boch got so upset he kicks the bucket and he gets his size 15s caught in the bucket and he can't get the bucket off his foot, but he's still trying to straight face it. Those moments, I mean, those are the things you do. I think as a fan, of course, you want people to feel the way you're feeling when you're sitting on your sofa watching a game or having a beer and you're like, man, why is this guy not ticked off? He is ticked off. He is.
No, I think they're all ticked. I think they're all ticked off. I just think they do an amazing job of keeping it in. It's like, I don't know how they do it. Like I liked it more when occasionally they would get upset because it just was more colored for the game. It was like more, it was fun to watch Earl Weaver and Tommy sort of do their thing. Like as a player, I don't want my manager being a stark raving lunatic in the dugout. I want him to have a little composure, but it's like Bochy didn't do a whole lot that we could see, but I remember Bochy every once in a while take his hat off, do one of these and just put his hat back on. Like that would let you know, like he's just like unbelievable. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, let me put this back on. Like you don't got to be a maniac, but there's no doubt. I know Melvin is just like inside. It's a fire and it's rage and it's like the same thing we're saying. Elliot,
what are you doing? When he starts to get he wants to yell, but he's not doing it. Like when he puckers those lips, it's go time in his brain. But
everybody has a tell.
Yeah, and with Boch, like you talk about the hat, but when he starts giving signs and he's got big hands, he's just kind of like this, like he's not even really touching the spots he's supposed to touch. He's steaming. It's over. And that's one of the perks of having being in the dugout with him. Like I know they have a bullpen now out in center field, but there's nothing that kills your confidence more when the bullpen's going to get going. It's like, Rags be like, you want me to get Lopez up? And he's like, oh, don't get Lopez up. Get, and then you're like, oh. But it either lights a fire in you or you let it
Uh,
control you, So I do like that candor that you can kind of hear. I do miss that for these bullpen guys.
you, you missed that one when
I
Butch goes,
mean,
nah,
yeah,
don't get
yeah.
Javier.
Because then you're like, oh, I'll show you.
Yeah,
It lights a fire. Either you answer or you don't. And
yeah,
those are the lessons that you kind of learn. And it's so sped up here at a big league level. But it's those. I think it was Arnold Palmer that said the 6 inches between your ears
yep.
is a game changer. I wasn't as talented as other people, but mentally I fought harder. I just wouldn't quit. Now I didn't see the rewards as quickly as some other guys that were just naturally more talented, but I'm just not a guy that was willing to quit. And I think that's where these guys got to get that mental toughness and get pushed. Not just the Giants, but like just in general, when you watch young
Yeah.
guys, just push through that, and there is success on the other side.
It seems like the next couple weeks are gonna be pretty important. They got the Pirates a couple of times. They got the Nationals. They got the Mets in there, but then it becomes Padres. I think Cubs are in there. Brewers are in there. It starts to stiffen up toward the end of August. So, like, I expect it to turn around for them. Like, this is like everyone's gonna have a point in the season where you're scuffling. The Dodgers have scuffled recently.
Right.
Everyone's going to have that stretch. You just got to find your way out of it. You may win 4 or 5 in a row and you're good to go. It's just, I know when you're in it, it's probably like, oh God, we can't find a way to win a game. And I don't know if you've
Yeah.
noticed this hobby in baseball, because in basketball, I always say when you're in a losing streak, you're not winning easy. You're not winning by 15. Your next win's going to be by 2, by
Right.
3. You're just going to have to figure it out and grind it out. Baseball
Right.
feels like the same way. You're not coming off a bad stretch of games with a 7-0 victory.
And I try to make that point when I broadcast it, if the situation calls for it, where the Giants they will find a way to play it into a 1 or 2 run game, and they will find a way to give up a run late to make it even tighter. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to close. It's just hard to close games out when you're not used to doing it. Now, when you're feeling good, you don't. Again, you cover whatever you give up. You're like, all right, we gave up a couple, we'll get it right back. When it's not going right, it is just hard to close games out, and I think that's one thing that you're kind of noticing with the Giants, and kind of what you're speaking to. They have 7 games against the Padres the rest of the year. So that's a team that's in front of you. I think the
Yeah.
Giants are 4 games out. Can you cover it? Yes, you can. But again, you have to be playing crisp baseball. And that's the one thing about baseball that is also difficult, is that you're out there every single night and you try to tell yourself, well, today's another opportunity, but sometimes you need a breather. Sometimes you got
Yeah.
like you want to get away and you just can't. There's just no off days. So they're going to reach a little stretch here where I think they got a lot of Thursdays off. So they'll have some time
Yeah.
to kind of get their footing, but it's they're up against it here the rest of the way, and
Yeah.
that's why I think these next 2 games are critically important to see what move, if any moves, are made at the deadline.
I'll parrot what a lot of people have said. Kipe said it. I forget who else, but it just over the last couple of days, it's been nice to see Jung Hoo Lee go to left field. It's been nice to see him slap the ball the other way. I mean, that should be a huge part of his game. He got pull happy there for a long period of time, but to me, Javi, he's the guy that if he could get going and you could put him at the top of the order and move Ramos back to a run producing spot, that ultimately would be the Giants' best lineup, is to have him at the top and move Ramos down if he can keep it going.
Yeah, I think left, right, left would be the way you'd want to start that out. I think Devers in the 3 would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think Jung Hoo Lee's a major cog to that offense. If he can get it going, and I made the point right out of the break. He was taking some swings in Toronto where he was hitting fly balls, but he was trying to go towards center field, trying to go towards left. But I'm with you. He's too dynamic a player to not try to just find any way to get on base. And I think maybe they've talked to him. I'm sure they have, but I think a bunt is in play for him. He's fast.
Yeah.
He can cover the plate very well. He knows the knowledge. He has the knowledge of the strike zone. If he could just lay it down and just put a little bit of pressure on the Giants, because as you can see, they're still station to station kind of club. They're not running a whole lot, so it's hard at the big league level to get 3 hits to score a run. So if you can get a guy that can get on base and steal you a bag, now you're putting pressure on the defense to execute. And I would love for the Giants to play the way the Blue Jays play, where it's just constant pressure. Put the
Yeah.
ball in play. Don't strike out. It's not like they're an amazingly well, like that lineup isn't just an amazingly well laid out lineup where it's clicking,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
different guys contribute, and that pitching staff just is on the attack. It doesn't mean that they're going to punch you out, but they try to work ahead in the count and make you swing at their kind of pitches. And I think when the Giants were doing that in April, that's what you saw, different guys contributing, different guys, but the attack mode was on. And I feel like the Giants are starting to get that back offensively. They're starting to get double digit hits, but I think now with the runners in scoring position, they still get that tense up a little bit, and I'd like to see
Yeah.
them loosen up. The pressure's on a pitcher in those situations, and they got to understand that.
Look at the Brewers. Brewers don't
Yeah,
have anybody that strikes fear in your heart. I mean, maybe Churio, maybe Yelich, but they don't strike out a ton. They're athletic, they can run, and they just find a way to manufacture a run. They go away from the, hey, let's just lift and spin it and see if we can hit a bunch of jacks. It's like, hey, let's catch the ball, novel. Let's get on base, let's make the defense make plays, novel.
Correct.
And then when we get on base, let's run. Let's take the extra 90 feet when we have a chance. And we'll obviously still got to pitch, but yeah, I think we're slowly, maybe kind of teams are getting back to that a little bit, in that we don't need three guys that can hit over 30 jacks a year. We need to get more athletic. The bases are bigger. We can steal now. You can use the middle of the field again with the shift rules. Let's try to get back to being more athletic baseball players instead of station to station. Let's see if we can just hit it in the gap or hit it over everybody's head. And it's a better brand of baseball too, though. Everybody swinging from their heels. It's like, please, this isn't beer league softball. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Brewers, when you look at them, they've loved being the underdog all year. I think that's a role they relish in. I do think Pat Murphy. I don't know Pat extremely well, but for everything that I've heard from him, is that he's a jerk in a good way between the lines. Like, he's like, boys, when it's time to play, go play. Like, do the dinners and hang out with the other team or your buddies. But when it's time to go, let's go. And the same, just like you're talking about it, just keep the pressure on a team. It is difficult to get those 27 outs when you're constantly having to grind as a pitcher, grind these at bats and grind the executions of pitches, because even these are the best of the best playing this sport, and they're missing their average on a fastball. You're missing it out, your average location, by at least 10 inches. On your breaking balls, it's almost 15-inch misses, and these are the best of the best at it. So you're asking a guy to execute over and over again when there's traffic. That is really difficult to do.
All right, let me ask you a couple of baseball offbeat questions. Best managerial blow up, whether it's home manager or the opposition that you witnessed while playing.
Well, I think Boch had a couple. I think Phil Cuzzy, for some reason, didn't like him very much. So
Cuzzy.
And so he just was a fan of calling random things, especially when Boch was managing. So Boch tore into him a couple times. We were in San Diego, of all the places. Like, it's a homecoming for him. He wants to be home, hang out. He still hadn't moved yet. I think all his stuff was still there. And he blew up in San Diego, hat going and stomping around. It was like one of the most ridiculous things I'd ever seen. Just because Boch is like, he's so calm till he's not calm. But that was a great blow up for him. I think that's always been a good one. There was one, I'm trying to think who we were playing. I want to say it was Bobby Valentine. I think he was the Mets, and a bad strike three call, and he absolutely lost it on the umpire. I want to say it was Bruce Fremming, old Bruce, which maybe he deserved. He was calling balls and strikes from basically the backstop. Like, he was way behind the catcher. Like, he was way back there. But Bobby was good for blow-ups. But you're right. I mean, I do think you're missing some great – Aaron Boone's had some good ones as of late. I think David Bell had a good couple runs out there in Cincinnati. But, I grew up an Orioles fan, and I was really young. But when Earl was still
incredible.
In it, you do miss the theatrics of things like that. But, Boch has had a couple good ones for me that I really kind of enjoyed. And then, I happened to pitch that game, and I go up to the dugout, and he's like, "Well, that got weird." It's like, he wasn't expecting that, and that's what I love. I just love those random ones. The ones that I really think are funny is when the coach, when the manager does it, and then the team, you do it to pump them up, and then you still get your butts kicked. It's
Yeah.
like, well, there goes that. It didn't work.
What's the best player blow up you remember seeing?
Steve Reed, reliever when I was with the Rockies. It might have been my first or second year there. AJ Przinsky, shocker, is the guy. He's
Shock.
hitting. He throws a fastball in. AJ leans out the elbow, clear as day, that he's trying to get hit by the pitch like a college player. They give him first base, and he absolutely went off on the umpire. As a reliever, you're kind of like, wait a second. This is not a place that you normally do these things. You're a reliever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's out there yelling, I mean, in his face, giving him the belly bumps, like he had the gut going. It's towards the end of his career. And I was just like, man, this is the big leagues. Because I'm a rookie. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
I got this guy's fighting for his own life, and I love it. So for sure that one, because it was a pitch, hit, right into jawing, right into a toss. It was like almost one fluid motion that all this happened. And yeah, he got into it. I was proud of him.
What do you remember about Bumgarner Joe West?
I think my favorite's that stare down that they had. That was
so ridiculous. It's like 20 seconds.
At least 20 seconds with a casual rub of the ball and then a toss. And then I don't understand. I would love to get those two in a room and kind of hammer out what the hell happened there. But those were my favorite moments between those guys. It's just the stare down. Because Joe West he's the cowboy. He ain't gonna, he's been around so long, he didn't care. And Bum just being Bum, trying to intimidate everybody. Well, it doesn't work all the time, Bum. We all know that. But I think the stare down will go down in history as one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Awesome. I loved it. The one thing about Bumgarner, and I know this came along with who he was, so to get the good, you had to go through this as well. And like, I love that guy, a competitor, awesome.
Yeah.
Love to have him on the hill, especially for big games. The only thing I didn't love about Bumgarner was when he went out there, and I was thinking to myself, do you have to be the sheriff of baseball every time you pitch? Like, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Like, stop. The Braves got into that for a little bit, where it's like, just stop. You just stop. I know. A guy that swings and misses and is upset with himself is an affront to you, or a guy that screams at himself for popping up is an affront to you. Like, oh, my pitches aren't good enough to get you to pop up. It's like, I mean, sometimes it's like, come on, God, just move on, Bum.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it was show, but you're right. I think if you asked him, he was probably like, I don't know what I was doing in those situations.
Yeah, probably not.
But again, if you don't get checked at any point in time, which he never did, you're going to keep pushing. You're going to keep pushing the envelope. And I do think a lot of times it worked in favor for him, because now he's getting you out of your game. When you're hitting, you're trying to hit the crap out of the ball or taking bigger swings than you normally would. And he would have that advantage on that regard. But you're right. I mean, sometimes what's that cliche, right? Let the sleeping dog lie. Like, a lot of times he would stir up teams that didn't really need, like, we were comfortable playing against them. And now you've ratcheted it up a little bit. Now everyone's on guard and everyone's a little more tense. And we thought maybe we'd be able to get in here and kind of just clean up a quick win and get out. Now it's a 4-alarm fire kind of deal.
All right, what do you remember about Bumgarner Puig matchups?
Yeah, that was always an interesting one. I think kind of what you're speaking to. It's that Puig came on like gangbusters. There's no doubt denying that when he came out and just absolutely hammering baseballs and being the next thing. I honestly was like, man, this guy's the next dude. He was built like a flipping linebacker, like just jacked, and it's like and he's playing all the outfield spots, but in LA, the bullpen's in right field, and he was in right field. I was like, good night, this guy's huge. And so some of the swings he's taking off a Bum and running his mouth, like, neither one of those guys were going to back down. I think what ultimately I thought was funny is that Puig never came at him. Bum never really went at him either, but Puig was quick to like hurry up and make sure somebody got in between them. And then it was the usual like finger pointing and all that. But those matchups, then it just manifested into more than I think it really needed to be. They're both competitors, but again, I think it's like with Bumgarner's on the mound, he's trying to set the tone, whatever that might be. Puig is trying to match it, if not ratcheted up another level. And I think that's when it got just so weird for me, especially when he
Yeah.
got out and he'd be screaming at him off the field. like you got him out. Like, I don't know what the anger is here. I don't get it, but
There was
yeah, I mean,
always a threat of violence during that
I,
matchup. It
and I
never
think that's what you
happened.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
I want to get to your favorite matchup, but last one, the matchup I remember most, all my time doing the radio show and all my time following the Giants, which I guess I still do, was Romo against Jay Bruce, Game 5 in Cincinnati. You guys had come back. It was 0-2. Now it's 2-2. You guys had the 4-0 lead on Buster's Grand Slam. They kind of worked their way back into it, and now it's 6-4, if I'm not mistaken. 2 guys on, Jay Bruce up, short porch, Cincinnati. I'm like, all I could think was, oh, Romo's going to spin a slider right into Jay Bruce's bat, and it's going to be 7-6 Reds. And that bat went on and on and on, and I'm watching it going, I'm just going to be a puddle. I'm going to be like Frosty the Snowman in the atrium by the end of this. Like,
Yeah.
what do you remember about that at bat? Because I remember that being the most dramatic, tension-filled at bat I have ever seen in my life. And then I think he ends up popping up to left field to Xavier Nady to end it. But it was like 12 pitches. It was one of my favorite at bats. I'll go back every once in a while just to go back and watch it because it's just like, oh my God.
I will tell you this, everyone in that dugout, since we're all standing there, it's the old Ferris Bueller lump of coal. In 2 weeks, you'd have a diamond, and you would have had 30 of them, if not more. I don't know how many people were in that dugout. I mean, talk about a tight booty situation. That was it was a special time. It was a weird time because again, that's when Affel gets hurt, so I have to come in early.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think Boach was kind of like that would have been my guy. Jay Bruce never had any success off me, but it just played out like that. But you're right. I mean, it's talking about pitch after pitch after pitch, and you're just like, oh, here we go. I mean, panic mode, but mild panic. And then he throws a hanger and he fouls it off, and you're like, oh, all right, we buy ourselves another pitch, and then he throws a nasty one and he gets fouled it off. Like, guys, it honestly played out like it was 2 hours, like you're talking about. 20 pitches, it felt, or 12 pitches, it just felt. It was at least 2 hours in my mind. But once he got that pop up, it was, I mean, mass hysteria because that was one of the most ridiculous at bats in a great town. I think in Cincinnati, I don't think people understood how loud it was in that ballpark. Those fans were in it, and that was not an easy place to go play. And I'm happy it worked out on our end, no doubt about that. But I tell you what, those fans came with it during that series, and it was so nice to be able to shut them up right there. And just such a big pitch for Romo, but that's just him. That's what drove him, right? Everyone's always bet against him, and he always used that as his motivator, and it worked out that entire season. It was pretty awesome.
Well, anytime you can beat a team that employs Matt Latos, that's always a good feeling.
I hate, what was it? I hate San Francisco, I think was what he signed baseballs with or something like that. Oh man,
I love that he threw a baseball over the left field fence at Oracle. I guess it was AT&T, and then broke Dave Fleming's windshield. I think it was.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, unbelievable. All right, your favorite. Who was your favorite at bat? Who did you love coming in? Who did you feel the most comfortable with? And I know comfort, that's not the right word is in a pro sports setting to use comfortability, but who'd you feel good about? Like, I feel like if I make my pitches, I can get this guy.
Yeah, I hate picking on people like this, but Ryan, there was 3. Okay, so Chase Utley, which is crazy because I think I love the guy. I think, but he's for some reason he just had trouble hitting me. But Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and Adam LaRoche, and of those 3, Adam LaRoche, I think I faced him. I want to say 10 times. I don't know. I'd have to look at the book, and I struck him out 9, or I faced him 9 times and struck him out 8. Like he wanted no part of the at bat, not one part, which is always kind of what you want. You want to come into a game and know that you got the guy. Like he'd be like, just swing and just. He didn't want any part of it.
It was done.
So that was my favorite. That's when I was like, all right, just execute a pitch. He's going to swing, and it worked out every time. Thank God. But yeah, that was
okay. Who was the guy you faced that you knew he was salivating to face you, and you're like, oh God, where
Oof.
do I throw it?
Oof. When I was a Red Sox facing Alex Rodriguez, I feel like there's nothing I could throw him that would intimidate him at all. And Gary Sheffield was another one when he was with the Yankees and I was with the Red
Yep.
Sox. And even before, we played him in interleague with some other clubs, and I had to face him. I was just like, oh my gosh, dude, I got nothing for it. I had nothing to get this guy out, and thankfully I kept him in the yard. Another one later, it was weird. Like with Pujols, I would get Pujols out, and then because he's a great hitter. He's had 703 home runs. He knew what he was doing. But like I'd throw a nice sinker and get him out, and like, oh, I'll just go back to the sinker, and then he blasts it off the wall. The next time I face him, I'm like, that's how you make adjustments. That's why you're going to be a Hall of Famer, because you do those things. Yeah, but that was panic mode. Those anytime I had to face a big power righty, back when I know it's hard to believe I actually threw full innings, and I'd be in there for that left right left matchup. And if there was a power righty, yeah, a little bit of panic mode, because much like Wisenhunt, I had a good changeup, but if I couldn't land my sinker, it didn't really matter that much. So yeah, it was a lot of loud contact. Put it that way.
What'd you think of the ASB and the All-Star game, the challenge system?
I think it's coming. I don't think there's just no way you can get away from it. I think it played well. I think it was an easy call. It doesn't take any time.
Yeah.
You watch. I'm a casual tennis fan, but
the Hawkeye.
Wimbledon is always right during my birthday. So when we'd sit there and that thing's been around 140 years of Wimbledon, whatever it is, and they booted out all the line judges, and they just went with that system. I just think it's the right way to go. I do like the challenge aspect of it. I don't know if I want it calling every ball and strike.
Yeah.
But I do like the challenge aspect of it, and I just think it's going to happen. It'll be unfortunate in a sense for the home plate umpires, but if they keep it with a challenge-based system, I think it might be good.
No, I like it. All right, before I let you go, give us your favorite recent book you've read, favorite recent TV show you've seen.
Okay. So the favorite book, it's an interesting book right now. I'm reading the autobiography of Gucci Mane, Atlanta Rap.
I did not.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
That was way off the board.
Yeah. It's an interesting life story. I know. I get a little weird with things like this. But I go through I'm not a fiction I don't really love fiction. I love maybe I like history or autobiographies and things like that. So so I am I'm on the autobiography of Gucci Mane, and so far it's been pretty entertaining. And he really likes to drink lean. And I don't want to give the spoiler out of it, but he really talks about how
you ruined the plot.
Yeah, there's a lot of lean involved in this thing.
A lot of lean involved.
Yeah. And as far as TV shows, let's see. I go through a big stretch. I just started again on The Bear. I really love The Bear.
Okay.
I don't know if you've watched it. Cooking up on. It's on Fox.
I've watched season. I watched season 1. I kind of got sidetracked, but I really like it. I love the actor.
Yeah, I get that. I think that's perfectly valid to get sidetracked on something like that. And then I watched. I'm trying to think of the CIA. What the name of that CIA one was with Richard Gere and Michael Fassbender. I forget the name of that. That was on.
Yeah.
But
I watched it. I like that.
Yeah,
the Agency.
The Agency. So we just finished that up. I'm waiting for.
Very good.
I was a big Landman fan. I thought that was great.
Oh, I love Landman.
Yeah.
The conversations Billy Bob Thornton has with his daughter, priceless.
Yeah.
Those are incredible.
Yeah. I'm not trying to take too many lessons from that, but I am at the same time.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Just enjoy it.
Yeah. I think all those shows are kind of fun. But Landman was really, really great. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. If my daughter said that to me, I'd just go jumping away. I just would look, don't ever talk to me. Just please leave me alone.
I'd be drinking more than what's he drink? A Dr. Pepper? I'd be drinking more than Dr. Pepper.
Oh, yeah. It'd be Jack Daniels for a day to see if I forget see if I could forget what happened. Have you seen, I'll give you one if you like history. You've probably seen it. Do you ever watch any of the Turning Points on Netflix?
I've watched a few. Yes, not many.
Did you watch
I've
the
watched a
Cold
few.
War? Cold War
I
and the
did.
Bomb?
Yeah, yeah.
That wasn't that
That was
great?
good. That
I
was.
recommend
I
that
think
one
there are
to
a lot. There's a
everybody.
lot of cool things. Yeah, there's a lot of cool things to kind of watch. Again, like I go all over the place on my books. I did a lot of. I was learning about baseball, so I was trying to do a lot of scout books and Joe
Yep.
Posnanski's books, and I did some of those. And then I
Okay.
wanted to learn about. I got on this kick for a while about Native Americans and kind of how the U.S. kind of just
Yep.
erased that whole deal. Being in Georgia, I
Yep.
kind of wanted to learn a little bit about those kind of things. So, yeah, I go all over the place. Yeah,
Have you read a book called Sapiens?
I have not.
Yeah, it's really good. It's okay. It's just about humans and the evolution of humans and all that kind of stuff. And there's another
Okay.
one called Nexus is a follow up to it. So, I mean, those are really good. I guess since you watched The Bear, I'm gonna guess you cook.
I mean, I cook. I can follow a recipe with the best of them. I don't.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
So I go with the one I'm going to nail every time is a little bit of Puerto Rican cuisine. So I do some
Oh,
modified chicken and rice. I do rice and beans on its own,
okay.
and then I'll fire up some. I'll do either a pork or a chicken. So my favorite is it's called pernil, and it's a roast pork, but it's a full kind of day of things to do.
Wow.
But it's garlic and all the herbs and I like it salty, and you leave the skin on there so it's nice and crispy. So it almost it tastes like a pork grind, like on the top. You just leave that on there, so it gives you a little something to kind of snack on before you end up getting that
Nice.
meal. But that's my favorite meal, and we usually do that once a year. It's not the healthiest, so
Yep.
you mix in one or
All
two of
right.
those a year. Yeah, exactly.
That's
But
why
it's
we exercise, right?
you get it, or why you sit
It's
outside if you're like me when it's 110, you just go ahead and start sweating.
exactly. It's all
Yeah,
about mitigation. Like a little bit
that's
of this.
exactly
Okay,
right.
I'll give you a little bit of this. All right,
Yeah.
last one. This one might not even apply to you. I know
Uh-oh.
the great student, great kid, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, what's the most trouble you got into as a kid? What'd you
O-
do, and what was the punishment?
Okay. Most trouble I got into as a kid. Well, the punishment was easy because my mom was a school teacher. So both things.
Okay,
I got in a fight in fourth grade,
okay.
which I can't really count as a fight. Like, let's say I'm your buddy and you get in the fight, so I'm fighting the guy that's going to jump in.
Oh, you were
But all
third
we,
man in.
yeah, so I'm making sure that you get your scrap on while I'm so.
Oh, got it.
So it was fourth grade, so it's a lot of like wrestling and maybe punches into the back. Like
Yeah.
it's not good form. So that was a principal's office situation. And then when I was in middle school, there was another kid I picked on him, he picked on me, and puberty's kind of getting going, the attitude gets going. And that was a trip from behind and a shove. I cheap shot at him.
Oh, geez, look at
Yeah,
you.
we're straight up chest shoves, and I'm like, forget it. And he's walking in front of me, and I kick the leg out from underneath him, and he starts tripping, and I shove him down to the
Wow.
ground, and he broke his arm. That
Ah.
wasn't my greatest moment,
Oh, you
but again,
Roddy
it was
Piper?
yeah.
You
Hey, wrestling
sneak
was big
attack
for
the
me.
guy.
Yeah,
I
wrestling was
guess
big for
like I
me.
know.
I
I know
was
you lived in that area.
yeah. So that was principal's office, but again, my mom was a teacher at the school, so this should be a suspension, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Oh, look at
Apologies, the
you.
whole
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, but nothing too crazy. Beyond that, I was a
Yeah.
pretty good kid. Like
Yeah.
my dad being an FBI agent, I didn't want to screw around too much. So yeah, I
Yeah,
kept it clean.
I
I
can
kept
see
it pretty
where
clean.
yeah, I can see where you'd want to keep it clean. All right, I said last one. You just sparked something. This has got to be the last one. Talk about fighting. There's no good fights in baseball anymore. Like I
No,
miss the dangerous aspect of it. Like there's no
yeah.
fights basically in sports they've taken away fighting. And I kind of miss that. Although I understand there's a danger aspect to it, but I truly believe this, Javi, in that players policing players is better than the league or officials slash umpires policing players. I just think when the players know how to do it, respect one another, and and can police the game, I just think it's better for the sport and it makes for a better product and makes for more general respect among the players. How do you see it? Do you like players policing? Or are you glad that's kind of out of the game now?
I don't hate that argument. I think when you look at hockey in particular, right? They're in there. Hey, you want to fight? All right, we'll throw down
Yeah.
after this, and you go and you do it, and then you grab a beer after the game, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like it's usually what it is. I think in this world, the way they've developed, I'm going to speak on the pitching side. The way they've developed those
Okay.
pitchers to reach back for velocity and not so much location.
Yeah.
Now we're getting into a danger zone where I'm going to.
Okay.
When I first came up, fastballs were 92. Like if you got a guy throwing mid 90s, that was gas. Now
Yeah.
it's 95 is a changeup almost. So if you can locate a nice fastball right in somebody's back or right in the rear end or upper thigh, I don't mind the policing part of it. I was part of all the shoving, no swinging. I was part of two good fights, two,
Hmm.
in 14 years in the big leagues. So where there was actually punches thrown and things like that. So I do think that I would love the players to step up a little bit more in that regard, but I just don't think that there's enough veterans in the game anymore compared to when I came
Yeah.
up. When I came up, there was, I want to say at least half the roster was 30 to 38, and now you're lucky to get a couple guys into their 30s. So I think that's where it becomes a little more dangerous to tell a flamethrower, let's say, hey,
Yeah.
Duval, go hit somebody, and he might smoke him in the head. And it's not that he
Yeah.
means to, but it's that part gets a little dangerous for me.
Yeah. That's a good point. During the two fights, did you cheap shot anybody?
No, but I almost got choked out. I had a hoodie on.
What?
Bad play. Bad play. Bad
A
play.
hoodie on?
I get down into the pile, and I'm protecting my guy, and a couple elbows and a couple punches in the gut, whatever. But they're trying to clear it out, and I've got my hoodie on, and that's when what's getting yanked. And I'm like, last time I wear a hoodie in a fight, things you learn. Things you learn. They don't tell you these things when you're coming up.
Who knew?
Yeah. Because they're always hey, cover up your number, so they don't know who you are. So that was my initial thought.
Like they don't have TVs, they don't recognize you.
Come on, we're talking about VCRs at that time. Come on.
They'll never know who I am. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I really appreciate you joining us. Is it too hot for golf today? Are we gonna get out and play a little?
No, golf is in the morning.
No?
If you're not out there by 8 o'clock, you just go ahead and park it for the day. But today's more checking off the list on school supplies, making sure we do our last minute clothes runs or get some shoes or whatever needs to be done for the kids, and that'll be it, man.
What's big for the kids now? What are the kids? Because I used to like when I was going to school, give me 2 pair of jeans and 3 shirts. We're good. And give me some football pencils. That's what I wanted. I want the full complete set of football pencils. Oh, I like those were the best. And I got a couple peaches, of course. But now I don't know. What do kids get nowadays? What are essentials for? Well, you got a high schooler and a 3rd, 4th grader somewhere around there? Or?
Yeah, seventh grade. So
for my 12. Yeah, what is
for
it?
my son doesn't care one bit, which is kind of
good.
I appreciate, but it's like he gets dressed in the dark. Like some of the outfits, you're
That's
never
okay.
you're never gonna get a girl like that. What are we doing here? I'm not sure what's happening. But for him, he's simple. He just wanted a backpack because they don't do lockers anymore. I grew up with lockers, so
really
they carry around everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so with my daughter, she's got more of the fashion sense. So it's got to be a specific backpack that it's so it's trendy. She's on trend. Maybe you love them. I don't. Birkenstocks. I don't know if you're into Birkenstocks.
No, I'm
Crocs.
not.
Crocs are kind of fading out. They're fading out, and now they're going. But for me, I tell my son, what if you have to run away from something, or what do you got to get in a fight? You're going to fight in flip flops? What are we doing? No, wear shoes to school. So he's been good about that. But my daughter likes to wear the Birkenstocks or things like that, and I kind of make fun of her. I'm like, look at those Nazareth 11s that you got on. Those are great. Yeah. So I just try to make fun of it because it's all about Jordans still. I mean, they want the Jordans, and now the Adidas shell toes are coming back and things like that.
Yeah, I do love those,
which I appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate
love
that.
them.
So it's okay with that. And but she's got more of the fashion things. It's got to be, whether it's Lulu or some sort of athletic brand that I probably don't even know about, and it's got to be Yeti or not a Yeti. I forgot what the new trend is, but it's some sort of water. Yeah, it's got to be a certain drink bottle. Yeah, it's always something. It's
Then are
always
the Birkenstocks, are they with or without socks?
so we get both here. We get both here.
Really? Wow,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
that's a strong statement.
Yeah, yeah. For right now, since my daughter's big into lacrosse, so she
Okay.
when the game is over, it's barefoot into the Birkenstocks, which I'm okay with. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fine. Yeah.
yeah, like, but it's the hoop scene here, which I'm sure is a hoop scene everywhere. It's the big fluffy flip flops, like almost like the sponge is like this
Yeah, I've
big
seen those.
socks, and they're trying to do crossovers and all these things, and I'm like, guys, just what are we doing? What is this? But I'm trying
Yeah.
to keep up. I'm just aging myself out slowly, and it hurts my heart.
Hobby, you just gotta let them learn.
I
You
know
gotta
it hurts my heart.
go for a crossover. You're gonna fall and you scrape your knees. It's gonna be a mess. It's like
Yeah,
I'm the only one in the family. Actually, they bought me Crocs for Christmas. I think I've worn them like two times.
it
I
doesn't
mean,
feel right.
everybody wears it doesn't. There's just
It's
something
sweaty.
about
Yeah, it's sweaty.
and with socks, without socks, I'm like, just give me a pair of Vans. Give me Vans, and we're good to go. And just leave me alone, okay? That's all I
Yeah,
want. Give
yeah.
my Vans, and then I'm moving on. I don't wear basketball shoes anymore. I got some walking shoes that I wear. I got a couple pair of Hokas, but that's
There
about
you
it.
go.
Vans and Hokas, and leave me alone.
That's all you need.
I'm good to go.
I'm
Hey,
with you.
Javi, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Glad you and the family are doing well. Hopefully, get a chance to talk in the future sometime.
Yeah, Mr. T, thanks for having me, my man. I appreciate you. Been a long
All
time.
right, stay cool.
I'm trying.
Do you know what? You know what that sounded like? It sounded like a yearbook entry. Stay cool. See you in September, Tommy. See you, Javi.
See you, bud.
All right, man. Take it easy. That was Javi Lopez. Appreciate the time from Javi's he's incredible. He really is. The stories and just the knowledge of the game. I love talking to Javi. So hopefully we get a chance to do that again. Maybe in September, because in September obviously we'll have football going on. We'll be doing that stuff. But hopefully the Giants are so relevant in September. But look, it looks bad now. Because it always looks bad. It looked bad for the Dodgers, not that long ago. Of course, with the Dodgers, they had a 10-game lead, so it didn't look as bad. And you always figure with the Dodgers too, like, you know what? Freeman's going to swing the bat better. Mookie will swing the bat better. Hey, look, like and subscribe. Yeah, do that for me, would you? Like, subscribe, and go to the Bay Area Sports Collective. Check out Paulie's show, and check out John Lund's show, and check out Rod Brooks and Amy G and Jeremy Affelt and all the stuff at basc.com. So yeah, go ahead, like, subscribe. That would be very, very cool. So yeah, let's wait. And I don't think they're going to bury themselves quite yet, but they're getting close. They're getting close. You start getting to that 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, then you're like flirting with disaster, because I don't know. I haven't looked. Lose land on my phone, so I can't get to the stat. But I know there was one team between them and the Padres, and now I want to say, or maybe the Padres were that team, because who are the Cubs are the wild card now? Isn't that crazy? Cubbies are the wild. Like, the Brewers have the best record in the league. Brewers are incredible. Yeah, it's Cubs, Phillies, Padres. Okay, it's Reds. Yeah. So and now they're behind the Cardinals. So that's the problem. You start falling further back, you're gonna have teams jump you, and then you got to catch those teams. So they're 4 behind the Padres, 2 behind the Reds, and a half game behind the Cardinals. So now they're gonna have the Cardinals 6 or 7 times. I know they play them two series in September, which is crazy. It's everybody in the NL West but the Padres, and then the Cardinals. It's a kind of a wild schedule. But that's the problem, is that you're going to have teams sneak in there, and then you have to jump them too. So you gotta hit eat. You gotta eat. Like, it's time to kind of get this thing reversed and start headed in the right direction. And you would think Pittsburgh would be the perfect tonic for something like that, but their pitching isn't quite where they would like it to be. I mean, last night's a perfect example. Things are going good. This is early in the season. When they got up to that 12-2 start, they get that hit in the ninth inning. Probably get a double and win the game 7-6. This is not that time. This is a different time where they're struggling. And even when they do get hits with runners in scoring position, and then when they do score 5 runs, and they give up 6, or they don't get the key hit, the big hit in the ninth. So, you got nothing left to do but just keep grinding away and try to string together some wins and get back ahead of the Cardinals and then get back ahead of the Reds. And, there's going to be huge games against the Padres coming up this month because they don't get the Padres down the stretch. It's the last time you're going to have a chance to pick up games against the Padres head to head in the season is in August. That's it. So it behooves them to win, both series, and at least pick up a couple games on the Padres. And then you move on and you get the Dodgers and you have some games against the Rockies, which will be nice. It's always nice having games against the Rockies. So we'll see. Not going to matter if Webb and Ray don't get right. I assume they will. Players like teams all go through bumps in the season where you just have, you have a stretch, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you don't feel right. You're just not seeing it well, not feeling well, not coming out well, whatever it is, just not what it usually is. And then you get back on track and you're rolling. Like he might be a little fatigued, but he's done this before over and over, 200 innings. This is no big deal. So but they need him and Ray. And Javi's right in that it's not fair, but it is what it is. They need him. Like those are the 2 most important guys on the team at the top of the rotation. So we'll see. It starts tonight. Let's see if they can get it done against the Pirates. Lose game 1, 6-5. I was going to talk a little about the Emmanuel Clase being suspended until I guess early September. They're investigating some gambling thing. His teammate Lopez got suspended for it was 2 pitches they're looking into. I didn't see. I read the piece in The Athletic. I should have done a little more digging. I didn't. I'm going to do it. What this one's about, I didn't see what it was about. I don't know if it's about pitches. It's probably a player prop. It's got to be a player prop, I would think. That was the Beasley thing. That was a prop. Beasley, that's basketball. Remember Malik Beasley. They're investigating him too. These player props, get you. They're going to get you. And so, anyway. All right, coming up, we are going to, I think Thursday, House of Strauss proprietor, owner, Ethan Strauss going to join us. We're going to do a lot of different topics with Ethan. We'll probably stray away from sports just a little bit as well and get into some fun stuff that Ethan generally talks about, but we'll do that outside. We may do it Thursday, may do it Friday. We're not sure yet, but it's a beautiful day today. Damn. What do you say, Lou? Yeah, huh? You're just chilling down there? Let's see if we can get everybody a shot of you down there. You have a good time? Did you enjoy the show? So? Not my best effort? Oh, you like just to hear me, huh? You're not super huge on interviews on a baseball. You like baseball, don't you? Who knows what she likes? I know what she likes. At 2:00, she likes her food. Is what she likes. Can I get the camera right? That's what I get for screwing around with it during the end of the show. All right, we're gonna get on out of here. Hope everybody has a great day. And again, we'll let you know Thursday or Friday. Could do it Thursday, post it Friday. I'm not sure. but we'll figure it out. Everybody have a great evening, a great day. Enjoy it. It's beautiful outside, and we'll see you next time. See you.